What's up with you?
What's going on? I'm good. How are
You
you?
tell me. Shit, I love podcasting thing. Like,
Yeah, I love to see it. You're good at it. You are.
I be a little insecure sometimes. I be thinking, like, you know what? To be honest with you, I only watched like one episode that I didn't put out.
So you record, edit, and then keep it pushing?
Keep that motherfucker pushing. Like, I don't even do, cause like, I don't want to get too much in my head as far as like what I do and what I don't do.
Yeah,
I feel like I have great conversations. So the purpose of this podcast anyways is to just talk to travelers and get a more feeling and understanding of what it's like being a traveler. Because when I was traveling and shit like that, which I still do, I would go on YouTube and I would like binge watch on places that I would go, but that can only still give you so much. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I was like, fuck it, I might as well just have, because I've always had great conversations with people that travel.
right.
So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do a traveling podcast. Thank you for joining.
Yes, thanks for having me. I never been on a podcast, so this is definitely new for me, but it's in
Is it
it's
like
in a vibe that
FaceTiming?
I like. Huh?
Is it like FaceTiming?
Yeah, it is. Especially you could just hook up your iPhone. It really does feel like a FaceTime, but
Mm-hmm.
essentially, it's a bigger thing than FaceTime. You have a whole brand and this is like information that people want to hear. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, welcome to Making It Look Easy, where we talk about traveling the world. Me, I'm gonna let you introduce yourself because I don't want to mess up. I mean, I will say to all the viewers out there, this is the first. Let me not miss out on nobody, but I'm gonna say this is the first fashion designer that I got on this show. So I'm
Wow.
excited about that. Yeah, yeah, I
That
got a
makes me
real
feel
fashion
good.
designer. I'm not even I'm not talking about like the part time, like full time fashion designer
Yeah.
doing this shit out in South Korea right now doing this shit. So yeah, I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah, that's crazy. We met each other in a cafe in Houston when I was like taking orders, doing custom t-shirts, and we kind of just vibed off of that, which is so funny. But yep, I'm Shamir. I am from Houston. I was actually originally born in Ohio. It's crazy because my coffee cup represent Ohio right here. But I was born in Columbus, Ohio, moved to Houston like third grade and was living there and been there. And yeah, so I've been traveling the world. Currently, I live in South Korea. I'm out here with family. My aunt, she's military, so she's a contractor, so she's not an active duty soldier, but she is out here working on post. And so she lives here, and I'm out here. And I've been here since May of 2024 this year. So I'm almost at 6 months, which is crazy. But this is my second time living in South Korea. I came here back in 2017 with my aunt as well, and I was here for 2 years. So now that I'm back, I'm older now. It's definitely a little different, but I'm a little more intentional with everything. I feel more confident being abroad than I was before, but it's been great being in Southeast Asia.
Yeah. Now, I know this is the only place you've been to, so do you mind sharing all the places you've been to? Because there might be some places that I might want to ask you about.
Yeah, so I've been to the Philippines. I went there with some friends that are actually Filipino. So that was cool because I
Mhm.
got a more authentic experience and it was during Christmas back in 2018. So that was great. I've also been to Guam, and that was beautiful. I always tell people I like Guam more than Hawaii. It reminds me of each other, but like Guam just has a different feel. I just got back from Vietnam. I visited Hanoi. That was last month, so that was really great. I've been to Beijing and yeah, that's pretty much it for abroad. Of course, Mexico, and I've been on cruises and stuff like that, but I've really been traveling Southeast Asia and I'm planning to be in Japan next month. So I'm pretty excited.
So you really just did the whole Asian continent almost.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And how many places have you went like by yourself?
So by myself, I been anywhere by myself? Beijing was by myself. That was by myself. A lot of traveling in between, like to meet up with people in different places, was by myself. But for the most part, I've been with people in Seoul. Well, in South Korea where I am now. I live here, but I travel by myself. So I'll go to Seoul, I'll go to different areas, and I'm like on Google Translate, Google Maps, Neighbor Map, asking foreigners like or asking Koreans to help me as a foreigner to get around. Being in Korea, I definitely do a lot of traveling by myself.
How was Beijing? Because that's
Yes, Beijing was cool. So actually what happened with that, I had an extended layover there. So it was like almost 24 hours. So I didn't venture too far off from the airport. I probably left maybe like 4 miles out. So I was just like being random on Google Maps, like trying to see like, okay, food, coffee. And I was just doing a lot of walking and looking at everything. So that was really cool. And a lot of people, they get nervous about venturing out. I always say, like, layovers, when they're long enough, I actually see that as a perk because that's a way to like travel somewhere without actually having to like travel there. You know what I mean? So I always take advantage of any of those layover times. And that was great. So I definitely want to go back to Beijing and stay longer, but I did have some good food. I met some cool people. It was beautiful. Everything looked new, of course. So that was a good time.
so you've been here since May.
Correct.
You want to come back? You ready to come back?
No, I'm not. Honestly, like Korea feels so safe. Like it's weird, like, we're American and we're so used to America, but it's like now that I'm here, I feel like, dang, America is crazy. Like just the chaos. And there's chaos everywhere, of course, but it's like that type of chaos I don't have to deal with here. Even being black in South Korea, not even just black, a dark skinned girl with an afro, like I definitely stand out here. I think African Americans, the amount here is less than 2%. So they have like other African people here, but a lot of people are from like Cameroon, even Liberia. But as far as African Americans, like we're like the lesser. So when I get to traveling, people stare and everything, but I never feel uncomfortable. Like they're more in shock, like, oh wow, like I've never seen a dark skinned girl with the afro. Look at her just walking the streets like she's so comfortable. But they are very private. Typically, if we're walking past each other on the road, they'll go to the other side. Like I don't feel bothered. I feel very safe. I do feel like I stand out, but not in a bad way, So as far as now, like I love Korea. I love the food. I love traveling. Their public transportation is amazing. The regular bus is cool. It's always on time. Like the bus stops have the time where it's like it's coming. They have the fast trains and the regular trains and the subways and everything is just like on time. I really love it. So Korea is good, honestly. And also the season. So right now, fall just happened and it's almost like the summertime was very hot. It was brutal actually here. But soon as fall came, like temperature dropped, it feels good. So I love how Korea has all four seasons, meaning, I mean, everyone has four seasons, but you actually feel the transition and it's like the same amount of time for each season versus Houston where we have that like extended summertime. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How have you been as far as like friends? Because I
So
know like that shit different. Being out there, ain't too many of us, and that shit tough, yo. Like, how you been
yeah.
able to hold up?
So luckily, because I'm in South Korea, there's a bunch of U.S. military bases here. So like I said, my aunt, she works for Camp Humphreys, which I believe is either the second or third biggest army installation all over the world. So it's really big. So naturally, I'm actually around a lot of Black Americans because they are military. So we don't live on base. We live maybe like 15 minutes from the base, but she works there. My little cousin goes to school on base. The PX and commissary food and shopping is on base. all the American food like Taco Bell and Subway and stuff is on the base. So I actually go there weekly, and right outside of the base is called the Ville, and that's like Korean shops, but they're tailored to Americans since it's right outside of the Army base. So there's like bars and food and just all kind of stuff for Americans, and that's where you'll see like a lot of American people. So there's hookah spots here. I actually work part-time at a hookah spot. There's definitely Black people here that I can hang out with and I've made friends with. It's more so when you leave the Army installation area, that's when you're like, okay, it's less Americans because now you're
You got
getting into,
on base?
huh?
You got a job on base?
No, not on base. So I used to actually, the first time I was in Korea, I worked at the PX, which is like the Army Walmart.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that was when I was here the first time I worked there. They sponsored me, so that was great. Right now, I'm not sponsored, meaning I'm on a traveling visa. So every 90 days, I have to leave Korea for 24 hours. But I just use that as a reason to travel. That's why I went to Vietnam last month because, my visa was running up. So I went to Vietnam, stayed there for a few days, enjoyed that, came back, they re-stamped my passport, and now I got another 90 days going. So I'm kind of working that way until I find a job that will sponsor me. But right now it's a little hard to get on at the on base just because there's a lot of people here and typically they cater to like spouses and stuff like that first before they give jobs to regular civilians.
So you did do a solo trip. You went to Vietnam for a few days.
No, well, so actually it was originally supposed to be solo, but then my aunt, she last minute, literally like a week before, she was like, well, maybe we'll just come with you. Like, we want to go. And I was like, okay. But I had planned it already, like to be by myself. I was going to stay in a hostel for the first half and then the second half, get an Airbnb. Everything was paid for, and she just ended up like paying the difference. But she never been to Vietnam. My little cousin didn't either. So they just decided to come last minute. But I was definitely ready. Like for me, I'm super research driven. So I'm always going to have like a plan A, B, and C so that I can feel comfortable to travel alone.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie, I'm really jealous because I stayed out there in Southeast Asia for like the whole summer last year. A
Wow.
nigga did not come back.
Yeah, it's
Loved it out there,
great.
yo. What the money talking about? Cause I know that shit cheap.
Yeah, it's definitely cheaper right now. Like it's more expensive than it was the first time I came to Korea, but still, it's still the US dollar is still holding weight. When we went to Vietnam, I wasn't even expecting to love Hanoi as much as I did. Like it was great. First of all, the food hands down was just amazing. Like everything we ate was on 10. And then like everything was cheap. So I think our Airbnb, we had like a 3-bedroom. It was on a rooftop on the 30th, or it was a 30th floor condo. They had a rooftop pool and all that. And for 5 days, we paid like $200. And that was considered like high end in Hanoi because it was a really nice uh apartment building. So super cheap in Vietnam for sure. Like I feel like if you want to come to Southeast Asia, you want good food, you want to not break the bank outside of the flight, Vietnam was where it's at for sure.
I heard what the Asians looking like out there. I heard they're a little darker out there in Vietnam because
Hmm.
we fought out there. So, you know, we was going out there and planting seeds. So I heard the Asians out there a little darker in Vietnam.
They are
Is that
very
true?
tan. Yeah, they are very tan. So out of all the Asians that I've kind of come across thus far, Filipinos and Vietnamese people have been the darkest out of everyone that I've seen. The lightest have definitely been Koreans because they take skin care like very seriously. If it's any type of sun outside, they walk around with umbrellas. Like they do no sun to skin contact. Like you'll have like your Koreans that are field workers and stuff, and of course they're darker, but anyone that's kind of like in the city or they're, in school or they have like corporate jobs, their skin is very pale. And that's a beauty
So,
standard. The whiter, the better for them.
so as a solo traveling woman or male, you would recommend South Korea.
I would definitely recommend South Korea. Yes. For multiple reasons. One, I don't feel any hate here. I feel like if anything, people are like impressed, just like, oh my gosh, like you're American. Like they're kind of, a lot of them, they haven't seen, especially Black Americans in this area. They don't really see them a lot. Like they are around, but it's like a dime a dozen and even less than that. So, but they're very like fascinated with our culture. You'll see, I know you know about K-pop and a lot of their music, they're like kind of dancing hip hop. They like the baggy clothes, like they'll even perm their hair to get more thickness. It'll never be thick like this, but you know, they really love like Western culture and especially like Black culture. But it doesn't feel like a way where it's like, it's more like appreciation, it's fascination, not like hate.
Agree.
Say it again.
They paying homage.
Yeah, it's homage. Like it doesn't feel stolen. It feels like just appreciated,
Yeah.
adopted, if you will.
And then they see something like you and they're like, oh, because
Yeah,
they exaggerate every emotion.
yes, they
Yeah,
do. Yes, they're like, oh, like they always,
yeah.
ooh.
And look, I be knowing, I done been some places my damn self. Shit. What we really want to know, and I say we, speaking by myself, how is it you being out there, you living out there on base or with your family? How are you having to, handle yourself mentally on your own? Because it's not like you got all your close friends. Ain't no telling what the love life was like. How are you, what I'm saying, functioning on a day-to-day basis?
That's interesting because one of my close friends, Josh, he told me like he's noticed that like I've changed mentally and just been more like focused on self-development. I'm already into like philosophy and self-development and figuring out why do we move how we move and trying to find ways to like not go against your own grain by figuring out who you are. So I've been doing a lot of like shadow work and like just looking at everything that I've been through in the past. And the reason I'm able to do that so much now is because I have less distractions. So although I'm away from my close friends, away from like a lot of my family, I'm by myself and I had to adjust to being by myself. I'm very social. In Houston, I throw a lot of parties. I'm always like hustling. I'm always meeting new people. So to come here and to find like kind of be in my solitude, at first it was uncomfortable because I'm just not used to it. But then my brain, I was able to like listen to my thoughts. So the least amount of distractions, I'm like, okay, what's going on with you, Shamir? I'm able to do like inventory on my life right now in peace, where I'm like, okay, how'd you get here? Why are you here? With relationships, like I was just getting off of a situation when I was coming here, and me coming here was actually part of the reason it ended, but it was so toxic. And being here now, it's like I was able to look at everything that happened and kind of like not even point the fingers. Everything is about me now. So I'm like, I can't blame anybody else but myself. How did I get into this position? And I just been doing a lot of journaling, a lot of like, I'm not gonna say being hard on myself, but calling myself out like, Shamir, all right now, like any situation you was in that you didn't like, it's on you. Like, why'd you continue it? But I had to look
Yeah.
at my habits. Like my bad habits are in my face now that I'm here because I want to do things, but I can't do it because I don't have my friends around. I don't have the same environments. So it's very interesting. I feel like I've been like having a lot of growth since being by myself. Now there's still people, I've been on a couple dates, there's people out here, like I said, there's American soldiers and stuff like that. There's still toxic energy. There's still clubs and all that, but it's less of a distraction because I'm not all the way consumed in it, like I was back at home. Because, your
Mhm.
friends, they're like, hey, they'll hit you up. Let's do this, let's do that. And my friend group is really big in Houston. So every day there's something. Every month there's somebody's birthday. There's an event. It's just bustling. here I'm taking walks, I'm like exploring, I'm by myself, and it's been great tapping into myself and being in solitude and being okay with it. You know what I mean? Or if I'm not doing anything, I would call somebody to come through. Now, if I'm not doing anything, I'm reading more, or I'm doing some type of self-development. I'm doing research. I'm into astrology. I'm looking at where the stars are. Like, how are you feeling? How is it affecting me? I'm really like tapping into myself, and it's been a positive experience.
Yo, I can tell that melanin is popping.
It's here. We're here. The
It just
hair is growing. Like,
number 4K.
it's what is this? The 14 Pro, but the sun is out. So like, it's natural
I
lighting
mean,
here.
I feel like my quality might be better than yours, but that's even giving you more credit. That melanin is popping, and I'm fucking with it heavy.
Well, thank you.
You look like you look good.
Thank you. I feel like when you feel good, you look good, like without even trying for real.
You ain't even
Honestly.
trying for real. That's what the fuck I'm talking about.
Just saying. Just
How
saying.
how you how you plan on making that transition back home?
So I committed with my aunt to be out here for a year. Because she's on the contract, she has to be out here 3 years, but she could stay as long as 9. Like she could keep extending after 3. She doesn't know if she will or not yet. But so she told me like to commit to 1 year, and pretty much I'm just helping out with her. My little cousin is in 8th grade, so he's pretty self-sufficient. I'm just here like if she goes out of town, usually she has to go out for a conference once a month for like a week. And that's when I help out with my little cousin. I'm really just making sure, he gets to school or to practice and doesn't burn the house down. But other than that, like he's very self-sufficient, so I have a lot of free time. But once the year is up in May, depending on how I feel or whatever I got started, because I'm networking a lot here, I may extend and I might move to Seoul. Right now I'm in Pyeongtaek, which is an hour and a half south of Seoul, but maybe, next year I'll be living in Seoul. Who knows? It's kind of open ended right now. I'm just like spreading my wings and seeing what's good. But if I do end up coming back to the States, then I'll just be back. And I'm always like hustling, and I have a lot of skills where I can always make money wherever I go. So the transition shouldn't be too hard.
Oh, don't think I forgot. We're gonna get into that fashion. We're gonna get into that fashion. The fashion, I wasn't playing one that says she's a fashion designer. You know what? I'm about to ask you a super interesting question because the question, but at the same time, is like a favor.
Okay.
Have you thought about going to visit the North Korea borderline?
So I have already. This was the first time I was here back in I don't know if it was 2017 or 18 that I went, but yes, I did go to the DMZ zone, which was intense. Like I
It was a
cried. Yeah, it was more so like because there's certain things like you can't dress a certain way, you can't have too much skin showing, no hats, like it's a respectful thing. Excuse me, it's very like quiet and you can't be loud. It's almost like you're just being respectful to all the people that died, in that area. All the North Koreans trying to cross over, risking everything. So when you look at the field that separates South Korea from North Korea, you just feel this sorrow of like all the people that died trying to get across. And the field is just regular now, but still was carrying like this eerie energy because a lot of people did die. So that's why I teared up because, obviously they're giving you're hearing the history lessons and they have all like the information there. And as you're like soaking in the information and looking at the field, you just start to think about like, wow, what if I had to be in that situation? Like you start to feel grateful of your freedom and all that. So it was definitely emotional for me. Now I'm sensitive in that sense because I'm very compassionate. So I definitely did tear up, but maybe you won't cry, but you'll definitely feel that energy of like, wow, people fighting for their freedom and risking their life to get to it.
I'm not gonna make this episode about North Korea. We could talk about North Korea all day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
insane.
interesting thing to talk about for one, but two, like you've seen it, you've been there. So was you able to like, how close was you able to get up to the border?
So it's not close because, well, the border of North Korea.
Yeah, like how close was you able to get up to the border?
So we're that I don't know if it's called a museum, but that building that we were in, it's like on the South Korea side, obviously. So what you see is the field in front of you. So if South Korea is here, then there's a field, and then there's North Korea. I don't think I could see North Korea. You just see the space in between, the DMZ zone. So I didn't get a glimpse of North Korea, but I saw the space that separates it. So that was close enough for me. Like I don't even want to get close. I don't want to see it.
You ain't see no soldiers or none of that.
No, because yeah, you would really have to like go through that field, and I'm sure they have like it boarded up and soldiers, but it's a big space in between the two. So where we were, we couldn't see that far.
That's interesting. What is the technology like over there? Because I mean, people over here in America really think that, Korea, Japan, places like that, they got the upper hand on us with technology. So what has it been like for you? Because I know the restaurants, I know the little self-serving robots that serve you at the restaurants, but what else do they got?
Yeah. So as far as technology, for me, I don't feel like it's things that are just way more profound. I just think they use technology in ways that are more convenient for people. Like even with like the bus stops having the electronic times on a board where by the minute it's telling you, okay, bus 305 is 5 minutes away, now 4, now 3, now 2. I'm comparing this to Houston, Texas, when I used to have to catch the bus years ago. And on the app, it'll say, like, oh, the bus is on the way, and then the bus will be late. So here, I need to figure out how they do it. I'm thinking every bus, like, as they go past, like, street lights, it pings, right? And that's how they're able to give you authentic, like, ETAs. So that's very convenient for a rider. Also, CCTV is heavy out here, so you don't see a lot of crime. I've never seen like a police officer pulling somebody over. You'll see police cars, but they're just getting somewhere. Like I've never seen them stopping someone or anything because CCTV is the police. So you're always
What is
being
see?
watched. I know. So pretty much it's cameras, it's surveillance everywhere. So say you run a light or say you're speeding, they have CCTV speed traps. So the thing is, if you have Waze or the Korean GPS, it'll warn you like, hey, there's a speed trap in 10 kilometers or whatever. And then so you'll see Koreans, they'll be speeding and then they'll slow down because they're about to go under a speed trap. So a lot of those, for instance, if you get a speeding ticket, they'll just mail it to you. They'll mail it based off of your license plate. So, and if somebody robs somebody or you steal something, even in the 7-Elevens, all the stores, like there's surveillance everywhere. And that's kind of how they keep track of like crime and people breaking the law. So it feels very safe out here. You just don't see a lot of things because I think essentially people know they're being watched.
Can only imagine because I haven't been to Korea, but I really want to go. I got a lot of homies because I was in the military, and
Okay.
so
I didn't know that.
yeah, yeah, I was in the army, so I know about Camp
Okay.
Humphreys and all. So you
Okay.
know about how it go down. I really want to get into some gossip questions because I know how the military life is.
Right.
So the civilian, you can say whatever you want, but I really want to know more about how does it feel overall, like just being out of the country? Like, how does it feel being out of America for all this time?
It's a lot of feelings. I feel like I get hit with so many feelings and I'm aware of it. And I've noticed that these feelings is what would stop the typical person from traveling abroad, where you start to think about, okay, you think about your family. You think about, I mean, a lot of my friends, they never left Texas. Like they've been on vacation in the US, but they've never moved and lived outside of Texas. Grew up there, all
So
their
they
families there.
haven't had that culture shock, is what you're saying.
Yeah, like not where they had to like make a new life. You know what I mean? And so for me, being out here, I do feel like that distance from my family and my friends, which is a struggle sometimes. Also, like my safety, North Korea is right there. I just told you I feel very safe in South Korea because one, there's a bunch of military army bases, but also Air Force, also Marines, everything is here. But, you talk to certain people, for instance, my dad, he's like, Shamir, North Korea. He's just one of those. He watches the news all day, every day. He's very like, uh, the fear mongering and all that is definitely on him. So he's the type where he's like, it's not safe there. You could be bombed. You could, just all this crazy stuff. And it's like, that is very true. But also in America, there's shootings. There's a safety issue as well. Just being Black in America is a safety issue. So it's like, I feel all these things at different times, but then I just try to stay present. Like what is in front of me right now, I'm very safe. I'm very comfortable in my home. My neighborhood is very safe. There's CCTV everywhere. There's always surveillance. It's easy to get to and from places. Like I just try to stay present so that I don't start thinking of fear, of all the bad things that can happen. Because honestly, nothing bad has ever happened to me since being in Korea the first or second time. Like I haven't even had issues with people arguing with me, no one being mean to me. Like if anything, I've had worse treatment in America. So I just try to like, now that I'm here, just really enjoy being away because I know at some point I will be back, but I don't want to sit here and be fearful. I don't want to sit here and think of the what ifs and just worry because honestly, I'm having such a great time. I'm meeting new people. I'm doing things I've never done. I'm seeing things I've never seen. Like it's really such a great experience and I'm just like soaking it all in. But I understand why people are afraid to travel. And I tell people all the time, they're like, oh, Shamir, like, you're brave. And I guess I am brave, but I want them to understand, like, I still feel those feelings that y'all feel, but I don't ride it out. Like, I feel it. I do an inventory, like, but are you safe, Shamir? Are you hurt? Are you wet? Like, I'm okay. So those feelings can pass. You get what I'm saying?
Not only do I get what you're saying, I had those same feelings. I had brothers on this show and I asked them, do they feel like, I wouldn't say timid, but I would say, do they ever, what I'm saying, feel a little anxious? And they'd be like, nah. I'm like, look, I feel like I'm a brave dude and I can adapt to any situation, but even myself, like when I'm getting on the plane, I'm traveling somewhere by myself, when I'm on that plane, I do get a little bit of anxiety, like, because like
Yeah,
you in another country
right,
by yourself.
right,
Anything can happen. You know what I'm saying? Like you can fuck around and have a sickness and like you gotta
right.
deal with that shit on your own. Like, so it's not just safety wise, it's more so like you are by yourself in another country and like, yeah, that can get to somebody mentally if you let it.
Right. And it makes
If
you
you
realize like how much when you're around family, friends, the city you grew up in, how much of a crutch you have. So even if you live in your own apartment in your city, it's like if something happens, you're able to call your mom, you're able to call your dad or your brother or your friend, and you feel that safety of like, even though I'm by myself, I'm really not by myself. But out here, this is the real by
this,
yourself. Like if something goes wrong, I can't, when you fill out emergency contact out here, are they even going to call? Because it's overseas. You know what I mean? Like, if anything, don't get a hold of my mother, but what can she do? You know what I mean? She's not going to catch a flight because I broke my arm or something. She's going to try to talk to me and make sure I'm good over the phone. But like, I'll have to comfort myself. Like, it's me, but I feel empowered through that. I feel very independent. I feel like because I'm doing this, I can do anything. Like, I am literally seeing fear and bulldozing straight through it. Like I still have that fear. Like you said on the plane, yes, I get that anxiety every time. The difference between us and the next person is they let that stop them instead of like going through. And right on the other side of fear is beauty because it's exposure. It's new. It's like, wow, I'm actually okay. So I appreciate that you even have that same quality of just like being human, but still being active and doing what you want to do, exploring. That's important because that's how you grow.
Yeah. I had a big imagination when I was a kid though. Like I think the first time I had an imagination outside of the world I was in. You remember that movie, The Prince of Egypt?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching that movie and seeing like pyramids and stuff like that. And then like seeing movies like Home Alone.
Yeah.
New York. New York was the first place I ever traveled to, like by myself.
Wow.
My first time getting on the plane, it was by myself. And I went to New York City.
And that's such a big, like, first of all, New York, that's really interesting because even being out here in Korea, you talk to Koreans that's never left Korea and they're like, New York. When they think of America, they think of New York City. Like, it's
Mhm.
such a big thing all over the world. And yes, it's the big thing to us in the US. Like, everyone knows, like, New York or LA, like, those are the two hot spots that most people talk about. But it's really worldwide where people are wanting to go to New York. And even when you go to New York, you see it's people from all over. It's a
Yeah,
melting pot. But I used to
it
live
is.
in Jersey, so I definitely yeah, that's
Yeah.
more of
Speak
the sewing, the fashion
yeah.
side.
Yeah, let's talk about that. What you haven't tapped in out there? Cause shit, Korea, they got a little fashion out there. Them motherfuckers know how to put some clothes on.
They do. Honestly, I love like Korean style. It's interesting because they first of all, you can see the influence, like I said, of Western, especially hip hop culture. They like a lot of oversized clothing. When we're talking about like streetwear, like what I'm interested in. So the younger crowd, younger as in, I mean, anybody can do streetwear. I'm saying like from 20s to 40s, right? But they don't really show a lot of skin up top. So like crop tops and bandeaus and stuff on arms, a lot of older Koreans, they kind of look down on it. They're not going to stop you, but it's like they're more so they'll cover their upper body with a long sleeve, but then they'll have a mini skirt on showing all legs. So they like the reverse here. But in general, I love the how they dress because sneakers are a big deal for them. So they'll be in
Yeah.
like denim throwback jeans and a oversized t-shirt, but then they'll have them, shoes on that's like fire. So the Jordans and even Adidas, any type of sneaker, like they are out here with the different colorways and it really like puts the whole fit together. So I
So
I
even
do
that
enjoy that.
like William.
Yeah. And shopping is
Yeah.
great. They have high-end stores, of course. Like Seoul reminds me, I always say Seoul is like the New York City of South Korea. So it's very bustling. There's big screens everywhere. A lot of people walking and street vendors. But you can go, they have a lot of shopping, of course, like high-end shopping, but then there's like people on the street selling knockoffs and regular stuff for like $5, $10. So it's really cool because you can shop within your budget here easily.
Have you been able to do your thing? Cause you design clothes too. Cause I want my viewers to know that.
Yeah.
So, I want you to be able to be supported as well.
Yeah, so since I've been here, I've done like some custom t-shirts for some people because I have my heat press here. I have both of my sewing machines here, but I'm still doing customs in Houston. I have somebody working with me there because a lot of my customers, they're still there. So they just go through me, get the order in, and then I design and do all that. And then I have my guy in Houston print and deliver for me. But as far as out here, yeah. So I have a couple soldiers that I've made tees for, like a couple DJs. As far as me sewing things like custom fits from scratch, I haven't done anything since being here. I had a couple inquiries. Currently there's somebody that wants me to make like a moo for them. So we're in the works of that right now. So as far as designing and doing whole custom fits, it's been less so here and more custom t-shirts and stuff. Also like hats. But I'm trying to get back into it. Half of it is me not promoting it. Like there's all kind of Facebook groups for like military people here where people need things. So I already know the moment I promote it, it's going to blow up. But I have been doing like sewing lessons. That's another thing that I've been doing because I have all my equipment here and people are just interested in learning how to sew. So I kind of been like moving around with it and just kind of doing whatever works for whoever needs it. But eventually I'll start like promoting more. But I've been traveling a lot and it's been so much that I've been doing since being here that I haven't been like super hard on doing like custom full fits. But shop is always open. Shop is always open.
No, I'm laughing because, like, I've never been into like the trendy shit, but I can always find something to make fun of. And like your name, like when you was like, I'm on, for some reason, like I was thinking very Shamir, very, that.
Very cute.
Yeah, that shit in my head now, like, but nah, for real though, you can fuck around and make some money off of it while you playing though. You put a
I
little spin on
know.
it.
People always, it's been a journey. Like sewing for me is all about creativity. And it gets to a point where like I get busy and I'm like, oh my God, like people are taking me serious. Even to this day, like obviously I have the skill, but it just like blows my mind still that people are like, make this for me. And I'm like, wow, I can actually make it. This is a girl that taught myself how to sew. This is a girl that like drove from Houston to move to Jersey so I could do an internship with a streetwear designer. Like I lived in Jersey by myself. So that was solo travel to Jersey and living in New York
That
just to
was.
put myself out there. You know what I mean? This girl that I was working with, shout out to her, Leela and Stitch. She's out of Jersey and she's worked with all kind of celebrities, NBA players, football players, Chris Brown. She's made multiple outfits for custom fit and she does more custom work where she's like doing hats and like she'll customize sneakers. I'm more of a seamstress where I'm like sewing fabric together. So it was dope that we were able to work together because we both had different skills and we were able to like put it together and it was great. And that was actually her first time doing a internship. She was like on live one day and I thought she was so cool. And I was like, hey, do you do internships? And she wrote back and she was like, or she spoke back in the live and she was like, I've been thinking about it. Like, if you serious, DM me. So me going to Jersey, that was her first time even doing an internship. So I kind of pushed it on her, but it was great. Like, it was such a great experience. I learned so much. And still to this day, like, I praise her because I was able to see what it takes and what it looks like to be your own brand manufacturer, be Black. She's a woman. Like she had her own studio space. She's also a photographer. She does everything. And just seeing that, it was very inspiring. Like you don't have to have any type of handouts. You have to have the grind and people have to like you. Like you have to be likable. I know people are so worried about like, I'm doing me and F the world. If you don't like me, then screw you. But it's like the reason I've had so many opportunities, honestly, being handed to me without even trying hard, is because I'm pleasant. I'm not. I'm cool to be around. And I'm not saying that to sound cocky. It's just a fact that people have told me being pleasant, they're gonna mention my name in different rooms when I'm not there, which is dope.
I agree. I agree. That we did business. I didn't got some grace from you. That's we fuck. I still rock my team. The whole team that you made. So yeah, like I agree, 1000%. And that melanin is still popping. I just want to
It's
remind you,
popping.
like,
Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah,
Self-care. That's another
yeah.
thing you may not know. I'm very, what's the word? I'm a do-it-yourself girl. Like even me learning how to sew, even me like I have accounting experience. I taught myself on a job. I have no degree. I'm a college dropout. And I was an accounting manager because I worked my way up.
You
Yeah.
and I both college dropouts.
Yeah, so like even you're mentioning the skin, I used to sell body butter, which was all natural, no preservatives. So I make my own moisturizer. I take moisturizing very seriously. Like anytime I'm out the shower, I'm moisturizing, and it's all natural products. Even with my hair, the conditioner I use, I'm making that myself. Avocado with olive oil and just whatever I use. So the glow is natural, is what I'm telling you.
I know it. I know. I just want the viewers to know.
For sure. I
So, yeah,
appreciate that.
what advice would you give to anybody that would want to travel?
So I would say first things first is stop being I'm not even gonna say stop being scared. Stop letting fear stop you. Like understand the fear comes with anything new. Even if you start a new job, you have that anxiety. Like anything that's new, you're gonna feel anxious about. So let's not let that cap you. That's normal. A new relationship, you feel anxious about it. Like a new date, anything that's new, you're gonna feel that bubbly, like maybe stiff throat or your stomach kind of getting tight. But just check with yourself. Are you okay? Are you being harmed? Are you in danger? Typically, you're not. Persevere. Like, keep going. Figure out first why you want to do it, though. Don't just travel because you think it's cool. What are you interested in? And go places that can, keep you excited. For me, South Korea, it was easy because my family is here, but I'm also into fashion. You know what I mean? I'm also into coffee. There's a lot of coffee shops here. There's a lot of fashion. Like I'm enjoying myself because I'm somewhere that has things that I'm interested in. So figure out yourself, figure out what you like. Don't let fear stop you and just do it. Also, I honestly have learned not to tell so many people what I'm doing because people's fear will push onto you. They'll deflect that onto you. And not that they're telling you don't do it, but they wouldn't do it. You tell them you're excited. Next thing you know, you're feeling down. And now you're thinking about all the what ifs that could happen. And now you won't do it because you let somebody else's fear dictate your moves. So I try to keep my traveling like desires to myself or to like the one or two people that I know I could tell, and they're very encouraging. Everybody else, even family, I just don't say it until I've already done it. And they're like, wow, they can appreciate it because they see that I'm back and I'm safe. But keep it to yourself, know what you're doing, know who you are, get out there and do it. Like, do it. You don't need somebody else. All the resources are here. Use TikTok. I use TikTok like Google. TikTok is great because I get to see it and hear it versus just reading about it. So use your resources and you'll feel more comfortable. If you're not comfortable traveling, it's because you haven't planned well enough. Once you plan, you have A, B, C, you're good. Just do it. Just freaking do it. Just do it.
Another resource that y'all can use out there is making it look easy. Please like and subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Do it. We gonna give you the best advice. Some of the shit Google can't even give. You know what I'm saying? We gonna give the best perspective. And I again like this show is for solo travelers. I started this shit because I had conversations with plenty of women and they were like, I can't travel because I'm a woman. But I just feel like that's a false misconception. And so like, with you coming on and you expressing yourself along with all the other beautiful Black women that I've had on here that came on and said the same exact thing you saying, thank you.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah,
sure do appreciate it. Hopefully you will help somebody. Cause I know people, the channel has been doing well. It ain't even been out 2 weeks and it's been doing well. And people
great.
have already like, oh yeah, you know what? I listened to this and you know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh shit, they're actually taking heed to what's being said on here. So thank you. You know what I'm saying? You helping somebody, you know?
Yeah, thank you for the platform. Like you said, people need to see they can't just hear travel solo. They need to see people that look like them, that sound like them, that is the same gender as them. Like these are ways to make them feel secure. And it's like if you could see somebody else doing it, then you feel more confident. So you having this platform, like I know it's cool for you and it's you chopping it up, but it really is helping other people and keeping them inspired to do things that will change their life. So that is duty in itself. You're providing true value to the world. So kudos to you for that.
Oh, that's just shit. And no, for real, I be trying to just pay it forward. I just
I
be
get
trying to
it.
pay it forward. I want to make it easier shit because I be going on YouTube and like, it's cool. Like, but I'm like, these motherfuckers put a lot of time into editing them motherfucking videos.
It
And like,
is.
wrong, like, I don't mind doing it if I have the time, but having a conversation is way better.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially talking to people that have been places that I haven't been. So it just makes more sense for me to provide a platform. And eventually I do want to get into opening and expanding this platform to different spaces. Because when it comes to traveling, so much goes into traveling. You know, you got athletes. I got a few. I'm about to hop on a call with an athlete that has been living in Southeast Asia for 10 years because he's an athlete. So a lot goes into traveling. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of different perspectives. And I just want to be able to, you know what I'm saying, expose as much as I can.
Yeah, you're doing it well. I think people like simple content. Like I know you get on Instagram and people are like all these edits and transitions and yeah, that's cool, but there's still regular people that just want regular information. Simple, sitting
Yeah.
there to them. So that's like the foundation of it all, the basics. Getting back to the basics.
Yeah. And you know, we grown, so we ain't really got time to be sitting over there fucking editing that shit on.
Man, I enjoy editing. Like I'm actually editing.
Content creators out there. I know that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know it's a hustle. I know what it's like. You know what I'm saying? Like, salute. But yeah, where can they find you at?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram. I have well, I would just say my traveling page. So it's Mir Off the Cuff. That's MIROFFTHECUFF. So on there you could kind of see my travels since being in Korea. If anybody wants to inquire about anything fashion related, you can follow me on Made by Mir. That's MADBYMIRRR. And you could just send me a message and we could see what you need and go from there.
Yeah, we're gonna leave all that information down below in the description. Make sure they find you. You know what I'm saying? But hey, I appreciate it. You know, we're gonna keep up on the gram and shit.
Yes, of course. I'll see you soon for sure. But thank you so much for having me. It's been dope. My first podcast experience.
Hey, every time I get on here, it's like my first time. So again, thank you for even, you know, taking the time. So most definitely.
Yes.
But I'm gonna see you though.
All
Hey, and
righty.
don't forget, go like and subscribe if y'all made it this far. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's free. But even if you don't, thank you anyways for tuning in. So see y'all on the next one.